So hello guys, I welcome you to the session. We have just named it part 2. Doesn't mean you must have attended the part 1. We are just going to have a few more arithmetic questions here, students. Hello Rajiv. So let's start with the first question. So here is the first question, students. Hi Vikas. So guys, please read this question and answer it. It just started, my dear. Akash, we have sent you the details how to start with the video. I wish you could have seen it. Shraddha says it is third option. Mathubala 2 says it is 3. Okay, so students, I guess we should start solving this question. Most of you are giving the answer to be 3, but let me tell you, third option is not the answer. Third option is wrong. Now students, he sells chair at 10% loss. He sells table at 10% gain, and on these two items combined, it says there is no profit, no loss. So the difference becomes 10:10, or the ratio of their cost prices become 1:1. Similarly, if you try and compare table and cot given, it is 10% profit and it is 14% profit. Overall there is 12.4. So again you take the difference, students. It is 1.6 and 2.4. So ratio of costs comes out to be 2:3. Now I guess students, with this you can answer the question in a pretty fast manner. Chair and table costs are equal, 1:1. Table and cot cost are 2:3. So if I say the chair cost rupees 2, table cost rupees 2, so cot will cost rupees 3. Or you can take it 200, 200 and 300. Now mind it, chair and table together, they give 0% profit. As given here, there is no profit and no loss. So cot, which you have sold at a profit of 14%, how much is 14% of 300, students? It is a profit of 42 rupees. Now 42, the total cost is 700 into 100. So students, it just becomes a gain of 6%. That is the first option. Now this is the easiest method we are doing it here. Mind it, we are just spending around 40 to 50 seconds if you solve this question like this. Right students? I think you all have got it. The answer is 6% gain. After getting ratio, Manish, we are just taking the cost price to be 200, 200 and 300. Now the question has already stated that chair and table net profit is 0, so we are not counting that. Now cot we sold at a profit of 14% and 14% of 300 is 42. So 42 profit on a total cost of 700, it becomes 6%. Yeah, Sonakshi, we can apply simple allegation, you can see on the top. So right students, we are moving to the next question. This one, it's a time and work question, students. So just try and solve it. It's a good question of time and work, students. So many of the students are giving the answer as the first option. Kunj says it is 4. So the work is completed in 60 days by the group working in the first shift. So let's solve this question, students. Now as per the statement of the question, working at 80% efficiency, it takes 60 days. So working at 70% efficiency, you will take into 8 by 7 days. Because if efficiency drops down to 7 by 8, the number of days will become 8 by 7. And similarly, at 50% efficiency, students, it will be into 8 by 5. So the number of days come out to be 60, 480 by 7 and 96. So students, the best approach after this should be to assume the number of units. Now the number of units, we should take a multiple of all that stuff, that is 60, 480 and 96. So let the number of units be equal to 480 only. So that means at 80% efficiency, they do 8 units a day. At 70%, they will do 7 units a day. At 96, they will do 5 units a day. That means they will do 20 units a day if they work in all the 3 shifts. So that means the work can be completed in 24 days. Now students, as per the question, they have taken 60 days. Now if you finish it in 24 days, so how many days less are being taken? So the answer becomes the first option. So it is 36 days. The first option becomes your answer. Is that fine, students? Swati, we said in 60 days they finish the work if they work at 80% of the efficiency. At 70% of the efficiency, it will be 8 by 7 of the same. At 50% efficiency, it will be 8 by 5 of the same. If you solve that, it comes out to be 60, 480 by 7 and 96. Now we assume the work to be done to be equal to 480 units, so that we get to know that it is 8 units per day at 80% efficiency, 7 units at 70% and 5 units at 50%, right? So they do 20 units a day, so that means they will be able to finish the work in 24 days. So as compared to 60, it is 36 days less. Yeah, Kalyani, number of units assuming which is a multiple of the number of days is a very good method to solve the questions quickly. Shubham, you are making an equation here, this and in all three. Yeah, that is also perfectly okay. You can apply that also. Yeah, rather that is also making the question very simple. 200% a day. Himanshu, what do you want to convey? Please say it again. Yeah, that's great. It's another method which is working very wonderfully here. Effective work a day is 200%. Now he says when you work at effective rate of 60%, you finish it in 60 days. And the sum of the percentages is 80 plus 70 plus 50 is 200. So you will be able to do the work in how much time? You can find that, right? So it is 60 into 80 by 200. Sorry. And you can solve it 42 za, 45 za, 5 into 12 za. So you can say the work will be finished in 24 days if you work at 200% of the efficiency. Ashwini, that's great. Himanshu, it's a wonderful approach which you suggested. Rather, that makes the question simpler than what I suggested even. So answer is 24 days less than 60. So answer comes out to be 36 days. It simply means that at 80% efficiency, if you do it in 60 days, at 200% efficiency, you will do it in how much time? Right, students? So let's move further to the next question. This one, just answer this question, students. It's a compound interest question. So most of you are answering it to be third option. Kavita said it is 3 for sure. So she is confident that third option is correct. So most of you have got it to be 3. So let's solve it here, students. Now don't get into the trap that if it amounts to rupees 1000 after 3 years, what will be the principal? Because we hardly bother about the same when you talk about compound interest. So after 3 years it was 1000, after 5 years it is 9000. So you want to check it after 8 years. So students, just try to think it logically that the sum of money becomes 9 times in 2 years from 3 to 5. So you can move ahead 2 more years. So it will become 9 times again. You will say it will become 81,000. Now students, after that from 7 to 8, there is only one more year. So because it's a case of compound interest, you can say if in 2 years it becomes 9 times and 9 is the square of 3, this means in 1 year it will become 3 times only. So how much is 3 times of 81,000? It shall become 2,43,000 rupees. So it is 243, that is the third option, 2,43,000. Is that fine, students? So your answer comes out to be option number 3. Yeah, let's move to the next question, students. This one. It's a question on simple interest. Some of you are saying to be first option or fourth option. Let's see. Some of you say it is third option. Try and analyze in a better manner, students. Mind it, it's a case of simple interest. Sometimes the examiner gives the data just for the sake of providing the information. Don't try to use that on the face of it. Kavita is again sure it is 2.5. Yeah, Vimal, that's correct. Okay, students, so let's discuss it. Question just states that at present the total amount he owes is 150% of the principal he had borrowed. So students, if I say principal is 100, so that means amount comes out to be 150. It is 50% more. Now then it just states that after 1 year the total amount will increase by 13.1/3% compared to the present value. Now this me write amount, this is after 1 year. Now it will increase by 13.1/3%. So students, if you convert 13.1/3, it becomes 13 3s are 39 plus 1 40/300. So if 40/300 you increase in 150, you get an interest of 20 rupees, students. So this means the amount shall become 170% 1 year from now. Now that is just examiner's way to give you the information, students. On the whole, you get to know that you earn 20 rupees interest in 1 year when you have taken the principal to be 100. So that means your rate of interest happens to be 20% per annum. Now students, mind it, at present it is already 150% of the principal. So if you have invested 100, it has already become 150. Now how much more you want to earn as interest? You want to earn 50 rupees as interest more. Principal is 100 only, rate is 20% only. So that means at the rate of 20 rupees per annum, it will take 2.5 more years to do so. And mind it, it said how many years from now. So because it is already 150, so that means you only need 2.5 more years. So the answer for the question comes out to be 2.5. So this solution will help you, students. So it is choice number 4. Fourth option is your answer. Right, students? I guess you all are clear about the same. Okay, so let's go to the next question. This one, a very good question, students. Just read, understand and answer it. It's a question on time and work. It's a good question on time and work. Okay, 1 or 2 answers have come. Yeah, that's correct, Rohan. So let's solve this question, students. What do you say? Yeah, maybe we can do it directly by checking options, students. But then let's see. Now here, students, it says ratio of the work done on day 4. 4th day we know 4th person doesn't work. So if you add x, y, x plus y and x plus 2y, it becomes 3x plus 4y. Similarly, day 1, first day, first person does not work. So y plus x plus y plus 2x plus y plus x plus 2y becomes 4x plus 5y. Now students, if you see carefully, this ratio is given to us as 3/4. And if you solve it, you get the answer as y equal to 0. Now students, just try to see, and you can end the question here. It says work done on 3rd day is 40 units and you want to calculate the work done on 5th day. Students, just try and see, as soon as you calculate that y is 0, can I simply say that you can just cancel y at all the positions? It is just not needed. Now on 3rd day you have excluded you have excluded x and the work done was 40 units, and on 5th day also you have excluded x only. So that means rest everything is present there. So if everything is present there, so this means whatever work is done on the 3rd day, same work has been done on the 5th day as well. So the answer becomes the first option. Right, students? So we could have very well avoided the calculations for the third day in terms of units and for the fifth day in terms of units. As soon as you get to know that y is 0, 1, you can cancel y from all the 5 days if it is there. 2, when you exclude third person, it only has x units in it, and if you exclude fifth, it again has x only. Rest everything present is common. So this means whatever is being done on the third day, same is being done on the fifth day as well. So the answer becomes 40 units. I guess doing it this way, you can avoid quite calculations in the end. Right, students? So you get to know. हम लास्ट में ये सारी कैलकुलेशन y को स्ट्रेट अवे कैंसिल करके अवॉइड कर सकते हैं और बहुत जल्दी इसका आंसर निकाल सकते हैं. So let's move to the next question, students. This one, a very good question again, students. A question based on pipes and cisterns. Thank you so much, Tushar. Kavita, you always answer very quickly. Let's see whether the answer is right or wrong. So answer is coming out to be third option or second option for some of you. Rahul says it is second. Rahul, नाम तो सुना होगा. I think everybody has listened to the name of Rahul. So they can fill it in 10 minutes and 15 minutes respectively, but due to some obstruction, they deliver at 2 by 5 and 3 by 5. So students, catch here is in assuming or taking the data so that the question becomes simpler. Rahul says he made a mistake. Answer is 10 minutes. That is correct. So let's solve it here, students. See, students, talking generally, if they fill it in 10 and 15 minutes, we'll take a capacity which is a multiple of 10 and 15, that is 30. But mind it, the former delivers at 2 by 5 of the usual and the latter delivers at 3 by 5 of the usual. So we should take the capacity or their speeds such that it's a multiple of 5 as well. That is the catch, students. Only then you can make the question really simple. Now the LCM of 10 and 15 is 30. So if I take into 5, that is, let the capacity be equal to 150 liters. So that means the first bucket has a speed of 15 liters per minute as it does it in 10 minutes, and the second can do it at the rate of 10 liters per minute because it fills it up in 15 minutes. Now students, after that, first works at the speed of 2 by 5. You find 2 by 5 of 15. It comes out to be 6 liters. You find 3 by 5 of 10. It comes out to be 6 liters. So that implies, students, that at the normal obstructed rate, they will fill at the rate of 12 liters per minute if they work together. Now it says that when the obstruction got removed, it was filled in 1.2 minutes, students. Now 1.2 minutes. Now we know without the obstruction being there, they will work at a rate of 15 plus 10, that is 25 liters per minute. Now that means in 1.2 minutes, they will fill 30 liters. Now students, that simply means that they filled 30 liters when the obstruction was removed. So that means 120 liters were filled when obstruction was present there. Now we have already calculated that they work at the rate of 12 liters per minute. So 120 divided by 12, this means they kept on working when there was obstruction for 10 minutes. So this 10 becomes your answer, students. So the answer for the question comes out to be 10 minutes. I guess you all have got it. Yeah, Tanya, tell me what you are not able to get out of it. See, in terms of time and work, tougher problems, it is always better to assume the total work in terms of number of units from where 120 came. That's perfect because we have taken the capacity to be 150 liters. Tanya, we took the capacity to be 150 liters and 30 liters were filled after the obstruction was removed. So that means the remaining 120 liters were filled when there were obstruction in the pipes. Manish, if we take 30 liters, we can definitely take that, but in that case, because the speed of the taps will come out to be 3 liters a minute and 2 liters a minute, then you won't be able to do 2 by 5 and 3 by 5 in terms of integral values. Then your calculations will become a little tougher. Yeah, Abhishek, you will get that. We'll try to upload it on the YouTube after the session is over within 2-3 days of the same. Yeah, equations do take a lot of time. Aditya is saying is perfectly right. Chaitanya, you can go through the questions later on. We'll upload it on YouTube. Because if we go and visit the first question again, I think that will reduce the number of questions we will be able to cover in this session. Right, students? So, let's move on to the next question, students. Shall we? This one. Janam is saying is right. You can definitely subscribe to hitbullseye.com and can have access to more and more number of videos. Not only on maths but reasoning, data interpretation, everything. Okay, students, this question on time and work. So answer this question, students. Kavita says cannot be determined, but she is not sure. Kavita says it's option 2 now. So Kavita, change the lines of the poem of this question. So students, it's a simple question if done logically. Okay, let's solve it, students. Students, don't get carried away by the figures that he is using over here, because that is the thing which will make you to commit mistake. See, they all have worked for 9 days. Now the remaining work can be done by A in half a day, B in 3 by 4 of a day, and by C in 1 day. So what is the question basically for you, students? For you, question is that if a work A can do in half day, B can do in 3/4 of a day, and C can do in 1 day, they can finish it in how much time? Mind it, 9 days have already gone. So students, just take the way we usually do the reciprocation. That is, it will be 2 by 1 plus 4 by 3, their 1 day's work, plus 1. You add that after taking the LCM. So it is 6 plus 4 plus 3. This means in 1 day they will do 13 by 3 of the work, or they will be able to finish the work in 3 by 13 of a day. And mind it, 9 days have already gone. So if 9 days have already gone, the answer shall become 9 3 by 13. Nothing else is there in this question, students. So you all have got it, students? I just said question says A has to do the remaining work. That's great, Manish. Just read the question. After they work for 9 days. See, I have underlined it for you. They all have worked for 9 days. So this means 9 days have already gone. So the remaining work they can individually do in 1 by 2, 3 by 4 and 1 day. So basically the question is, if you do a piece of work in 1 by 2, 3 by 4 and 1 day, together you can finish it in how much time? Yeah, that's great. We could have, but at the same time, students, one catch is there. Yeah, Kavita, that's true. You could have simply done 9 plus something, keeping in mind that if A alone can do it in half a day, so the days taken by together, all of 3, would be definitely less than half. And you can take the option which is more than 9 but less than 10. Perfect. Okay, students? Now this question otherwise has nothing. You just have to analyze it carefully and answer it. Hey guys, some of you are not answering anything. You all are slipping. Read it carefully. Vimal, it says this work can be completed by A, B and C in half, 3 by 4 and 1 day respectively. So what is given is the number of days. Yeah. Okay guys, so let's move on to the next question. Now we did a question, students, on that allegation approach. Some of you asked to repeat it. We have one more question of the same type coming next. So just try to read and answer this question. A good question, students. Answer it. So answer, most of you are giving to be 32.5%, the fourth option. Okay, shall we discuss it, students? Just learn the approach here. Allegation becomes the best here. The first 2 products which you solved at a profit of 20 and 29, you make overall a gain of 26. So the difference comes out to be 3:6, students. or the ratio comes out to be 1:2 for their cost prices. Similarly, if you take the second and third, they are sold at 29, 39. Overall there is 35% students. So it is 4, 6. Ratio comes out to be 2:3. Now after that, students, Abhishek, we just apply the allegation. First two you have sold individually at the rate of 20 and 29, and combined you made a profit of 26. So allegation, we apply the combined profit is written in between, then you take up their differences, which gives you the ratio of their cost prices. So first and second have a CP 1:2 ratio, second and third have a CP 2:3 ratio. So that means if you take the ratio of first, second and third, it comes out to be 1:2:3. So let's take the CP to be 100, 200 and 300. Now as per the question, students, on the first there is a gain of 20 rupees, 20%, which is 20 rupees. On the second there is a gain of 29, or 29% of 200 is 58. And on the third there is a gain of 39%, or 39% of 300 happens to be 117. So students, if you see carefully, there is a total profit of 195 rupees on the total cost price of 600. With this, if you start solving it, you get 6 3s are 18, 6 2s are 12. With this, you can mark the answer only. If you want to calculate exactly, you can find it to be the fourth option, 32.5%. So this becomes a part of the solution. So students, you all have got it. Sahil, you are not able to hear me? Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. Yeah, Pritha, I think you need to go through the basic videos of allegation. Let me suggest you here. There are 2 videos on allegation which have been made by me only. It's available on YouTube or at hitbullseye.com. First go through the basic video and then go through the advanced video. Guys, I'll suggest all of you, if you have not done the topic allegation and mixture, wherever is it applicable, it becomes the easiest method to solve the question. So allegation is a technique which none of you should try to miss, students. It's a strong recommendation from my side. So allegation ऐसा topic है जो आप सबको जरूर कर लेना चाहिए. Thank you so much, Shriram. Yeah, that's great, Kavita. Okay, students, so the answer comes out to be 32.5%, which is choice number 4. So let's go to the next question. So just read the direction, students. Questions are following this. एक दो लाइन के solutions हैं, Rajiv. Questions are not of 1 or 2 lines. What have you missed, Himanshu? Yeah, it's a new question. Just the directions are coming. Questions will follow after this. Yeah, Abhishek, we do conduct classes here regularly at Bullseye, Chandigarh, and at other branches. Abhishek, we have got a couple of requests from the students to start it online, though we have not started it as yet. No, Aru, we are not present in Delhi or Calcutta. So guys, I guess you all have read the question. Ram attempted a certain number of questions and guessed 10% wrong. Consequently, he secured net score of 64. Rajat 20% wrong and he secures 54% and passes by 12. So let's see the questions. First question. So Rajiv, it's a 1 or 2 line question, though the directions have already gone. Let's see, Tanya. What were total number of questions? It's not defined. Yeah, Janam, you can calculate that there are 100 questions. Rajat was the second guy who got 20% of his questions wrong. Okay, students, let's discuss it here. Yeah, that's correct, Janam. Students, just read. The whole crux lies in the information itself. Just see the information on your screen right now. See, there are 2 things which you can conclude. 1. Ram attempts a certain percentage of questions and gets 10% of his questions wrong. Now students, mind it, you get 1 mark for the right question and there is 1 mark negative marking as well. So if he gets 10% of his attempts wrong, this means his score will be 80% of his attempts. Reason being, out of 100% that he attempts, you're talking about percentage, 10% he made wrong, so he will not get marks for those, and 10% of his marks will be deducted, because negative marking is equal to the marks for every question. Similarly, if you see carefully, for Rajat, the second person, he gets 20% of his attempts wrong. So if 20% of your attempts are wrong and 20% you will get negative by, this means your net score will be 60% of your attempts. And second point, students, just see, one person scores 64%, another scores 54%. So in terms of percentage, there is a difference of 10, and one gets 22 marks more than the pass and another gets 12 marks more than the passing marks. So this means, as per the question, 10% of the marks is 10. So the marks are 100 only. So that is the first thing that you can get to know. If two people have a difference of 10% in their marks and a difference of 10 marks in absolute, this means 10% of the marks are 10. So that means 100% of the marks are 100. So that means the exam consists of 100 marks or 100 questions of 1 mark each. So you all are clear up to this stage, students? 10% is 10. So 100% is 100. Now, as per the other conclusion that I told you to draw, now the first person, Ram, would get 80% and he gets 64. Now Ram we did not find, we need to find Rajat. Rajat gets 60% of his attempts and he gets 54 marks. So 60% of his attempts is 54 marks. Just solve it, students. 23 za, 25 za, 3 18 za. This means the attempts done by Rajat is that of 90 marks. As it is 1 mark per question, so he attempts 90% of the questions. Gautam, I said, as he gets 80% of his questions are right. So that means out of, in terms of percentage, if you attempt 100, you make 20 wrong. So you don't get marks for those 20. At the same time, 20% becomes your negative marking, because negative marking is given to be equal to the positive marking. So that means he will get 60% of his attempts as his marks. So he attempted for 90 marks. Just for the sake of your understanding, we can calculate it for the second person, though it is not needed to answer. 80% of his attempts will be 64, because he gets 64 marks. And if you solve it here, the attempts of the first person, that is Ram, comes out to be how much, students? It comes out to be 80 marks, right? Now there is one more question on the same data. I think you all will be able to answer it. Yeah, Shalva, it will be applicable to any other number. You just have to manipulate, solve the data as per the values given. So question is, what are the passing marks or the pass marks? Yeah, that's great. You all have calculated that in 64 it was 22 marks more given. So the passing marks are 64 minus 22, that is 42. Right, students? So all have got it. Let's move on to the next question. Yeah, Himanshu is saying, see, it was definitely required. That's great, Himanshu. Now this question, students, a good question. You can call it ratio or mixture. So solve it. Abhishek, we don't conduct classes in Kolkata. Though if there are 10 to 15 students who are interested, we can provide the classes online. You can mail us for the same and we can think into the matter, look into the matter and plan it accordingly. So other people who feel that they might be interested in online coaching and all, you can definitely write to us and we can plan it accordingly, students. Rahul says answer is the first option. So answer are coming to be first option or third option. Some of you are giving to be fourth option. So most of you have answered it to be 3. Shada says it is 3 and sure. Let's solve it, students. There are 2 approaches that you can apply in order to answer this. One is you can apply even allegation here. I can think this question in a different manner, students. I can very well think here that let me assume that when 10 rupees per dozen was the cost price, there were some good apples and there were some spoiled apples. Now, so can I say the apples which were good, they should be costing us how much? Mind it, we sold it for rupees 15 and there is a gain of 25%. That means the cost price of the apples which are perfect comes out to be 12 rupees. Now just apply allegation, students. The cost price of the apples which are perfect is 12 rupees. The price of the apples which are of no use is 0 rupees. And on the whole, you have the average price which you bought them to be are at the rate of 10 rupees. So the differences comes out to be 10 and 2, that is 5 and 1. So that means if there is one spoiled apple, there are one spoiled orange, there are 5 correct or okay kind of oranges. So that means 1/6 of the total, students. 1/6, because one apple which is orange which is spoiled and there are 5 which are okay, so 1/6 of the oranges are spoiled, which comes out to be 16 2/3%. Yeah, that is the best approach, students. I can say if you can apply this, you can really make it really simple. 2, if you make an equation, even then you can solve it perfectly okay. Let me assume you have bought a total of X quantity and out of that Y happens to be spoiled out of those. So students, the total cost that you would have incurred will be 10x. Now the quantity that you are left now which is perfectly okay is X minus Y, and your average cost comes out to be 12 rupees. So 10x is the cost which you have spent divided by the quantity which is okay now, you get the average cost to be rupees 12. You're solving this becomes 2x is equal to 12y. So the ratio of y to x comes out to be 2/12 or 1/6. Yeah, that's right. So that means 1/6 of the apples have been spoiled, so which comes out to be 16 2/3%. Yeah, that's perfectly okay, right, Himanshu, Harish? So you can get the idea. If you apply allegation, you get it to be so simple, and if you solve it otherwise, you can get it. Yeah, Shraddha, I thought that you bought X kilograms at the rate of 10 each, so the amount spent is 10x. Now Y out of those get spoiled, so this means you are left with X minus Y apples, and the cost of those X minus Y comes out to be 12 rupees as defined it in the question. You sell it for rupees 15 and you make a gain of 25%. Right, students? I guess you all are clear. Okay, so moving on to the next question. This one, a wonderful question, students. It's a tough one, let me tell you in advance. Manish, it's only you need to solve more and more question by way of logic only, because logic, I feel, is the mother of mathematics. So if you apply the logic carefully and don't try to think in terms of equation, you can really solve the questions in quicker period of time. Manish, I'll explain it. If you haven't understood anything out of the question, tell me. Otherwise, let others try. I will surely explain. The terms are simple only. There were 1,000 people who voted. 10% of the votes were invalid. Then they did the discussion and they voted again. Then 20% votes were invalid. He says the opponents increased by 50% in the second case. Then he says in the second case the motion was rejected by a majority which is 300% more than by which it was formally. In the initial case when it was passed, it is 300% more. So how many people voted against after the discussion? Right, Selva? Now we have to consider it, Bhavna. If there are 1,000 people, so this means in the first case only 900 valid votes were there. Rajiv says it is 600. Shalva says it is 480. Shriram says approximately it is 495. Shriram, you are approximating of your own. Choices are not permitting the same. So shall we solve it, students? Okay. So see, let me tell you, in the exam, if you are caught for such a question, ideally you should not be attempting it unless you get some clue. Now here, let's firstly get it in terms of equation. Say for case 1. Case 1, students, it is favor, it is against, it is total. We know total there are 900 votes. In case 2, total there are 800 votes. Now in case of case 1, if I say there are X people who voted in favor, I can say there are 900 minus X who were against. Now it says that the people who were against or who were opponent, their percentage increased by 50 in the second case. So it is 1.5 times 900 minus X, the people who are against. So this means the people in favor will remain 800 minus 1.5 times 900 minus X. Now this whole will fall into the bracket, students, for your better understanding. Yeah, that's true. Because we need to increase it by 50%, that will become simpler. Now here, students, very importantly, what is the case for the first? It would have been, in the first case, it was passed by X minus 900 minus X, and in the second case it was failed by. Now this becomes quite complex, as the people who are against are more in this case. So 1.5 times 900 minus X. From this we need to subtract the complete value, that is 800 minus 1.5 times 900 minus X. Now this bracket you will close here and you need to solve this. Yeah, it's a tough question, I already told you. Now this, if you will solve, from there you will get the value of X to be 500. Right, students, it's a tough question. Now there is a simpler approach. Explain second part. Pritha is not clear. Pritha, we saw question has not ended. Let me end it here. Now this is the majority by which it won in the first case, and this is the one in which it lost. Now it says in the second case it was 300% more. 300% more means it was 4 times. So 4 times of that value will be equal to this value. Yeah, Himanshu, it is the same thing. Opponents are that only. Now let me tell you, students, I have already said that you should not be attempting such a question in the exam in the first go if you are not very clear about how to make an equation. Now let me just give you a final conclusion for the same. Now if I have to attempt it in the exam, see, when the question, the formation of the question is tough, usually the figures used in the questions are simpler. Now for example, if I see the 4 options, I have a very strong feeling that the answer has to be 600, because that is the only completely rounded figure that I am able to see. And now let me check it. Just see the students, let's check it here. Case 1, case 2. Mind it, voted against, if we take that to be 600, against. Now this is 600, students, here. So this means the number here will be 200, because we already know in the second case there were 800 votes. Now the people who are against have increased by 600, has increased by 50%. So 600 is 3 by 2 or 50% more than which figure? It is that of 400. So that means the people who are in favor must be 500, because we know in the first case the total was 900. In the second case the total is 800. Now just try to verify the data, students. In the first case the favor were 100 votes comparatively, and in the second case votes against were 400, and 400 is 300% more than 100. So your data gets verified, right students? In the first case it was passed by a majority which is 100. In the second case it was lost by a majority, you can call it, which was 400, which is 300 more than that. Because I said Shubham, because when the question happens to be too complex, अगर क्वेश्चन बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स क्रिएट किया होता है तो उसमें जो फिगर्स यूज किए जाते हैं दैट इज यूजुअली राउंडेड ओनली. इफ आई हैव टू स्टार्ट विद द ऑप्शंस, आई थिंक 600 शुड बी द option only that I should be trying. But again, Janam, if we say every time you might be lucky enough to get it through options, it might not always be true. It has to be like that कि पुराने कर्म सामने नहीं आने चाहिए. You have done it reasonably well and you should be able to do it. Right guys? So this was the last question from my side here for the day. Students, as some of you are asking, so if we plan some paid workshops, I would like to know how many of you will be eager to join that. In that we can maybe take up one by one the different topics and we can explain those for the selective number of students. So your responses, mails will be highly appreciated. Himanshu, otherwise you'll have this workshop next week again, Wednesday. I'll try to maybe cover data interpretation on analytical reasoning in the coming week. Yeah, Abhishek, the videos will be uploaded soon on the YouTube. Right students? I am writing my email ID. If you have further any queries, you can write it here. It is head.quant@hitbullseye.com. Right students? Wishing success for all of you. Yeah, you will get that. Right students? Thank you so much. Thank you.